So it's that time of week again where we've got a new update to Elementor Pro, and in today's video I'm going to demonstrate those new features, what they do, and just show you how easy it is to start implementing these really cool new methods of allowing people to contact you and sharing information and displaying information on your website. So let's take a look at all those things in action right now. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, the channel where we create beautiful WordPress websites together. If this is your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing, smashing that bell icon below to become part of the notification crew every time new content is added. Okay, so the new update has just landed and we've got a couple of cool new features, and I'm going to break those down into three distinct areas. The first one we're going to take a look at is the new way of using lightboxes. So let's just jump over to the dashboard, create a simple page, and I'll show you how easy it is to start displaying information through this lightbox option. So the first thing we're going to do is just create something to actually use as the basis of our lightbox. So I'm going to come down, just add a new template in. We'll jump over to the block section and we'll just set up a hero image. So we'll just use that and we'll just pull this one in. That's fine. As long as it's got a button on there, I'm happy. So we'll say insert that, and we've got our basic hero section inserted into our page. Okay, so there's our hero section. We've got the read more button. So normally you click on this and it would take you through to something else. Well, let's take a look at changing that. Click on read more and we're going to change that, and we're going to say view video. Once we've done that, you can see we've got the normal link option and nothing looks like it's changed on there at all. But where the magic happens is through the dynamic option. Now, you'd normally think that dynamic is going to be something that you link into something like pods, advanced custom fields, or something along those lines. But there are additional features and tools available in there now for you. If we click and open that out, we can scroll down and you can see we now have the actions section. We're going to click on Lightbox. That'll do exactly what your name would suggest. It selects the lightbox as our option. Again, nothing has changed, but if you're used to working with dynamic content, once you select an option, you'll see we get the little wrench icon. That gives us additional tools and settings. So we click on there, you can see that opens up the options now for this particular new sort of lightbox option. You can see we've got the option for a video and also for an image. For this example, we're going to go with the video, and we're simply going to drop in the URL we want to use on there. And I get rid of this extra little time information at the end. So there we go. So we dropped in our link, we set up our lightbox, everything looks pretty good. So we'll hit update on there. What we'll do now is we'll just preview this page, and there's our page. If we click on the view video button, it'll now open up a nice lightbox effect and it'll show us the video and start playing that back. We can close that down in the way you'd expect with a lightbox option, but it's a nice interactive way of working and making things just look a little more seamless. So if you're using videos or you're using images on your website that you want to allow people to click on and get more information from, this is now a really cool way of using that option. Now, the next set of action links really do open up a ton of possibilities, especially if you want to interact with your audience. Say, for example, you want them to jump in and message you via Facebook. We can now do that. You want them to use WhatsApp? You can do that as well. So let's take a look at how we do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're simply going to drop in something to have that link associated with. So let's just come back up to our options and let's just drop in another button. So we'll say we're going to drop this underneath. Not too bothered about the way it looks, more a case of what happens with it. So I'm going to click on there, we're going to change that, and we're going to say message us on Facebook, for example. Okay, so we put that in there. We'll just change the colors and stuff on that so it all looks and ties in nicely. So we'll say we're going to put the background, we'll drop this blue in there, and we'll come back in and we'll set we want to put an icon at the beginning of it. So select an icon, we'll drop in Facebook, just so it all ties in really nicely with what we want them to do. Okay, so there's our button. Everything is set up. Again, you can see we just got the ordinary link option, but if we choose the dynamic option and scroll down, we've got the contact URL. So we click on that, and then again, we just open up the wrench icon. You'll see that now gives us the type setting option. Click on there, and there's all the options we have available to create custom sort of contact buttons. So we've got email, telephone, SMS, WhatsApp, Skype, and so on. We're going to choose Messenger for this example. We'll click on there and you can see what it asks for now is it asks for the username of the person that you want, or the business that you want this to link through to when someone clicks on the link. So let's take a look. We'll drop that username in there and we'll take a look at how this works. So to find that username is very easy. All you need to do is go over to Facebook, simply search for the name of the person or the business that you're looking for, and then if you look at the URL at the top, you can see you've got facebook.com/ and then the username that you need to access. For this example, we've got Elementor or Elementor. So what we're going to do is come back in, say Messenger, we're going to drop in there and just say we want to use Elementor, hit update. Once we've done that, we've now created that link to the button we can now use that action to open up our particular Facebook account and then go through and access that messenger on that specific account. So let's take a look at that in action. So open the preview change, and you can see there's the messages on Facebook. If I click on that, that'll take us over into Facebook. Once we're in there, it'll open up my messenger, and you can see it's already set up now to start messaging Elementor or whoever we set up to be the recipient. Now, even though this is an action link, we can still do all the normal things we want. We can style everything. We can go through and specify we want no follows, open a new window, etc. All those things are still there. So you can see it's incredibly easy to work with. Let's take a look at some of the other options. Let's say we want to send someone a message via email. What we can do is we can come up, we'll change this now over to email, and you see the options that are associated with this have now changed. So we can drop in the email address of the company, person, individual, whatever it is we want to actually email. We can drop in the basic subject and the message, so you can put whatever you want in here. So let's just say we wanted to send something through to WPTuts. Then we can go into there and we can say whatever subject you want. There we go, and we can drop in a message on there. Once we've done that, we can change the button information over now. So instead of Facebook, let's just change that, and we'll just drop in an envelope. So we'll drop that in there, and we'll just change the message on there as well to drop us an email. So you can see it's all incredibly easy to do. We'll just save that, we'll preview it. And providing you've got an email client set up on there, we'd say drop us an email. It should open up your message client, and as you can see, pre-fills everything you want in there. So really cool, really simple to deal with. So we have a ton of options available, but we're not limited to just sending messages. There are some other things we can do as well. So we just jump back over, open up the options, change this from email. You can see we can use things like Viber, we can use Waze. So if you wanted to find directions to it, you can use the Waze service. So that's pretty cool. You can send Skype messages if you want to, SMS. You can even set up a calendar. So if you want to share an Outlook calendar or a Google calendar and have some information associated with that and insert it into that particular calendar, you can do that. So let's say a Google calendar, you can see title, description, location, start and end. So really cool, especially if you're doing events and things along those lines and you want to have a quick and easy way of being able to store that into a Google calendar. Now, the final one I want to look at in this particular action set is the ability to use telephones. So we click on telephone. You can see we can put the number we want in there. We'll just set any number we want. Doesn't really matter too much. So what will happen is if someone's using a mobile phone and you want them to sort of contact you, so you can say call us now. Then what you can do on there, we'll hit update. So if you're using a mobile phone and someone clicks on that call us now button, so this will then take you through to your phone application on your mobile phone with the number pre-filled out, ready for you to hit that call now button, and then you'll make that call knowing that the phone number is correct from the website. So that's just some of the options you've now got with these actions for links, which I think is a really cool way of adding some more interactivity, making the whole user experience much simpler for the end user, and hopefully what that'll do for people that are marketing and businesses and so on, it'll just speed up the process and ultimately lead to more sales, more interest, more contact, whatever you need for your business. So really like these new tools and features. So next up we have the request parameters. Now this is a pretty advanced sort of subject and something that I don't think most users are ever going to touch, but I'll just show you basically what it does and hopefully it'll be something you might look at in the future. So what I've done is I've created a simple online form. It's a contact form for someone that's interested in the service or product that we've got. Now let's just say they've signed up and they've got an email from us and then we want to sort of send them back to the website. We'd like to do things like pre-populate some of the information that's already stored in the database on MailChimp or something along those lines. Well, we can now do that with these request parameters. So with the form in action and ready set up, what we're going to do is we're going to come over. We need to set a couple of things up so we can start having that data transferred over. This data is going to be transferred via the URL. So if you're not sort of accustomed to this, you may want to just skip this topic altogether, but anyone that actually wants to use this might be something that's pretty useful and pretty cool. Okay, so there's a couple of things we need to do. First thing, we're going to come in and set up some of the basics. So let's just jump into the name. You can see we've got all the standard options you'd expect to see in a form in Elementor, but we're going to jump up to the advanced section. So we're going to click on there. Again, we've got that dynamic option and we're going to take advantage of that again. So we're going to click on there, we're going to scroll down and you can see under the site section we now have request parameter. If we click on that, that'll open up and give us the wrench icon so we can start making some changes in there. We can leave everything else as is for now. Click on the little wrench icon. You can see we've got the settings, we've got the type, the parameter name, and the advanced. The type gives us three options. We've got post, get, and query variable. We're going to leave this to get. Now, this isn't necessarily always the best way of doing things, but for this example, just so I can demonstrate it, we're going to use that just to keep it simple. So the parameter name, if you're linking this up to something like MailChimp, each one of the columns, each one of the fields will have a parameter or field name. For example, the first name might be fname, the surname might be sname, and so on. So we know we're going to use fname for the first name, so we can personalize this form. If we jump over to the advanced section, then you can see we've got before, after, and fallback. Now the before and after, we're not going to worry about those, but the fallback is a great way to put something pre-filled into any of these fields if the value is empty. So let's just say, as an example, you were using a telephone number as one of the fields, and someone didn't fill that information in when they signed up to your MailChimp account. You could just put in a fallback piece of text that says something along the lines of, please insert your telephone number, just to make sure that information is in there. Again, it's one of those things that's totally optional. We're not going to worry about that for this example. Again, we're going to jump down to email, over to advanced, click on dynamic, scroll down, and we're going to say that under site we want request parameter, hit the wrench icon again, and we're going to use get, and the parameter name is going to be email. So we'll just leave it at those two simple settings. Everything else is set up like you'd expect as a normal form, so we'll hit update on there. And if we jump over to the page and take a look at it, we'll see that that form is the same as any other form with no information waiting for you to fill it in. So as you can see, there's our form. Nothing is pre-populated in there because if we take a look at the link at the top, you can see it's just referencing the page. So if anybody landed on this that wasn't clicking from a link that you created with that dynamic information inside it, they would get the normal standard form. But to make it a little bit more personalized and quicker for people that have subscribed or are clicking a link that you've created, you can then use those particular parameters to pass over to this form to pre-populate the various fields based upon what is stored inside your MailChimp or other sort of service account. Like I said, I know this might sound a little complex, but if you kind of get your head around how these work, it can be a very powerful way of personalizing your site. So if we take a look at the link parameter now, you can see that I now have some additional information in this. So this is a link that would have been clicked through from an email or something. And as you can see, it passes over some variables. Fname, which is the first name. And you see it equals Paul, and then we've got the and sign, or the ampersand sign, email, which is our second field, equals, and the email address we want. If we wanted further fields on there that we've linked in through the same method, we could add those on, and we can have a long string of information. We leave this as is, so once I click enter on that, you'll see the page now updates, and you can see because we passed that information over, that's now pre-populated those two fields. So if I clicked a link that had that information being pulled into me from something like, I say, like MailChimp, that would be pre-populated and a great way of speeding up the process of passing information over between your site and another service. Now, you're not limited to doing this with just forms. We can use pretty much any element that we can pull in dynamic info. So, for example, we could personalize buttons. So let's take a look at how we could do something like that. Let's just jump back over to Elementor. As you can see, I've got rid of the form and we've got a button in there. Now, one of the nice things I like about this is we could stack different things together. So let's just say we'd like to combine something like a dynamic button, so it has personalized text on it, and that lightbox effect for a video, for example. Well, we can do that incredibly easily. Under the button section, we'll come down to the type and we'll click on the text option. We'll expand that out. We'll come down to our request parameter. We'll click on the small icon for the wrench. Get is fine. We want the F name in there for the first name. We'll also put in there hi for before, and after we'll just say here's your video. We'll put a fallback in there just in case nothing is actually sent over and say click to watch video. So this gives us the ability to personalize, also allows us to have something in there that if someone doesn't pass over that parameter, they'll still see something that makes sense to them. So we've got everything set up in there, all configured and done tidy. Next up, we'll come into the link, we'll click on dynamic again, we'll scroll down and we'll just choose the lightbox option. Click on the wrench icon, say we want to put a video in there, and we'll drop the video URL into there. And there we go. Again, we'll get rid of any excess on there. Okay, so everything's set up now. We've personalized that button and included a fallback option. We've created a lightbox that's associated with that button that'll open up and demonstrate that new lightbox feature. Let's hit update on there. We'll come over then to our test page and refresh this. Now you can see, because we're passing that URL parameter over at the top, we can get rid of the email part if we want to. We just need to pass over the fname option. You can see that now personalizes that button. If we click, it'll open up and start playing that YouTube video. However, if we don't have that information being passed over, we just got the normal link and we hit enter on there, you'll just see it says click to watch the video, click, it opens up and starts playing the video. So we've created both a personalized button if that parameter is being sent over from a link we've created, and we've also set it up in such a way that if it isn't being used that way, they still got a nice looking fallback button that makes a lot of sense. Now I know those dynamic parameters might be something you're thinking, I have no real idea, I'm none the wiser still. Well, it's one of those things, it's a pretty advanced topic, and if you're not used to creating dynamic links and having information being passed over, this might be a topic that you need to look into a little bit more, or something you may find you just actually don't even need. But I still think the first couple of options where we've got these new actions that we can associate with buttons and other things, and the new lightbox option that we've got to create more interesting looking lightbox options for videos and so on, I think that's a great addition to the latest version of Elementor Pro. Don't forget that if you enjoyed the video to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, but let me know below why you didn't enjoy the video. Helps me create better content for you. Speak in the comments section. If you've got any comments, questions or feedback on this video or anything else you'd like to see covered in future videos, please pop those in the comment sections. I read everything you put on there and try to answer as many posts as is possible. Well, if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to use those affiliate links in the description below. Costs you no more money, but it does give a small percentage back to the channel. And until next time, take care.